What if I told you that Prince Harry, once the beloved spare of the royal family, is now completely cut off? No titles, no privileges, and now, no protection. Let that sink in. No royal security. Not a single official bodyguard. Not even a discreet shadow car watching from a safe distance. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. And here's the real kicker. It wasn't King Charles who signed off on this cold, calculated move. It was Prince William. And it was Princess Anne. Together. Quietly. Deliberately. Why now? Why this way? And what are they hiding? Because buried under layers of PR statements, public smiles, and diplomatic silence lies a brutal decision no one expected: the permanent revocation of Harry's royal security privileges. The news didn't come with a royal announcement or a breaking headline. It came in a whisper. A flick of an ink pen on official documents. A quiet directive to security staff in both London and abroad. Stand down. He is no longer under protection. You might be wondering, how did we get here? How did a prince, who once fought for his country and walked behind his mother's coffin before millions, become this? Discarded, disconnected, and now defenseless? Let's rewind for a second. Not long ago, Prince Harry was seen as the heartbeat of a modern monarchy, the daring redhead, the war hero, the cheeky, lovable royal who brought charisma to the cold corridors of Buckingham Palace. And yet, in a matter of years, we've watched his image crack, public trust plummet, family ties snap, and today, we arrive at the final cut, the removal of his royal security for good. Some insiders call it necessary. Others say it's cruel beyond words. And if whispers are true, this decision didn't come from fear, it came from fury. But here's where it gets strange. Really strange. There's a rumor, multiple sources, same phrasing, that a single memo, circulated just once within a private royal committee, triggered this move. A memo that was never meant to be seen by the public. A memo that King Charles allegedly refused to sign. But William? He signed it first. And she didn't even hesitate. And that memo? According to a palace aide, it didn't just revoke security, it revoked trust. But what could have been in it? What was so shocking, so damning, that the royal family decided that one of their own, Princess Diana's own son, was better left unguarded? Well, that's what we're here to uncover. Now pause for a moment. Picture this. Prince Harry, stepping onto British soil. No welcoming motorcade. No protection detail. No tactical team at the airport. Just Harry. Alone. And for the first time in his life, vulnerable. You'd think, after serving 2 tours in Afghanistan, he'd have earned a different ending. But this isn't a war zone. It's a royal battlefield now. And the enemy isn't outside the palace gates. It's inside. And the public? We're left to ask the most uncomfortable questions. Did Harry do something so terrible, so reckless, that his family had no choice but to sever all protective ties? Or is this punishment? A warning? A message? Because when the likes of Princess Anne, known for her rigid commitment to royal duty, but also her rare moments of quiet compassion, personally signs off on removing a family member's safety, you better believe something big is boiling beneath the surface. But here's the thing the public isn't being told. This wasn't just a decision about security. It was a symbolic execution. In royal terms, revoking a family member's security is the ultimate silent statement. You're no longer one of us. It sends a message not just to Harry, but to anyone watching. Cross the firm, and there's no shield. Not even for a prince. Now, let me ask you something. Do you remember the moment when it all started to unravel? Was it when Harry and Meghan dropped that Oprah interview? Was it the Netflix series? The spare memoir? The legal battle with the Home Office? Or maybe it started long before all of that. Maybe it began when William realized his brother wasn't just making noise. He was threatening the very core of the monarchy's survival. And Princess Anne, she's never been one for drama. But she knows the cost of scandal, of betrayal. And when it came time to choose between duty and family, she didn't blink. Some say this wasn't about punishing Harry. It was about protecting the crown. But what if the two were never separate to begin with? Because here's what's really chilling. According to one source close to the royal security apparatus, Harry's name was removed from active royal protection schedules months ago. Quietly. Without his knowledge. Even before the official revocation. And when he tried to arrange his own private security during his last visit, the firm denied access to royal residences. Blocked. Rejected. He was no longer on the approved access list. That's when it became real. That's when it stopped being a family feud and turned into a state-sanctioned exile. And it's not just the UK. Reportedly, several Commonwealth countries have also been advised to treat Harry as a civilian traveler. No diplomatic protocols. No special security clearance. Just another man with a famous face and a shrinking circle of allies. But here's the twist. This might not be the end of Harry's story. It might just be the beginning of something darker. Because insiders claim Harry is furious. Not shocked. Not heartbroken. Furious. And according to reports, he's planning a retaliation. A legal move? A tell-all? A security leak? No one knows for sure. But one thing's clear. He's not done. And if you think this decision to revoke his royal security was the worst thing that could happen to Harry, well, you're going to want to buckle up. Because what came next changed everything. And no one, not even the king himself, saw it coming. What kind of document can break a family apart in complete silence? Not a public statement, not a screaming argument, but a single-page memo. No headlines, no press conference, just a few carefully chosen words, slipped across a polished desk, signed in quiet agreement, and suddenly, one of the most famous men in the world no longer has protection. Does that sound extreme to you? Because to some inside Buckingham Palace, this memo was a nuclear option, a red line. And once it was passed, there was no going back. So what exactly was in this document? And who wrote it? Let's back up. Our story begins not with drama, but with a meeting. A closed-door committee meeting, buried deep within the administrative arm of the royal institution, the Privy Council Security Subcommittee. You've probably never heard of it. You weren't supposed to. This is where decisions are made that never reach the public, but shape the royal family's everyday life. Access rights, movement restrictions, risk protocols, and yes, security. Now, let's ask the question that should terrify anyone watching this unfold. Why would the royal family go out of their way to revoke security from one of their own, unless they believed he posed a greater risk with protection than without it? That's the theory. And here's where it gets disturbing. According to multiple insider sources, the memo was initiated after a set of undisclosed incidents during Prince Harry's visits to the UK. Some claim it referenced security protocol breaches. Others say it hinted at Harry allegedly providing logistical intel to third parties without full royal approval. What does that mean in plain English? It means someone inside the royal system believed that Harry's actions might have exposed royal locations, travel movements, or private schedules, potentially putting other royals at risk. Whether or not that's true is still up for debate. But what we do know is this. The memo wasn't about punishment. It was about containment. The document circulated in complete secrecy. Initials were used instead of names. No digital trail. Paper only. And yet, despite every layer of caution, it leaked. Not to the public, not to the press, but to Prince William. And that's when everything changed. See, William wasn't supposed to see the memo at that stage. It hadn't been briefed to the king. It hadn't been reviewed by the Home Office. But when it landed on his desk, delivered by someone who, by all accounts, wanted him to see it, William didn't delay. He read it. He reread it. And then, without hesitation, he signed it. Just his initials. That's all it took. A flick of the pen. A silent declaration. I'm done protecting him. Let that hit you for a second. Not an argument. Not a face-to-face confrontation. Just ink on paper. So what would make William cross that line? For years, we've heard of their growing distance. Harry and William, once inseparable brothers, now more like political rivals. The Oprah interview was salt in the wound. The Netflix documentary was a slap in the face. But the memoir? Spare? That was a public betrayal. But this memo? It made things personal. Because hidden in the language of protocol and precaution were subtle accusations. Whispers that Harry had endangered more than just himself. And if you know anything about Prince William, you know this. He can tolerate insults. He can tolerate rebellion. But he will not tolerate threats to the safety of his children, his wife, the monarchy he's set to inherit. And here's where it gets even more twisted. Just 24 hours after William's signature hit that memo, Princess Anne added hers. And the royal workhorse, the woman who has never let scandal shake her. The one person who still shares quiet lunches with staff and makes appearances nobody else wants. When and puts her name on something, it's not done lightly. It's done deliberately. Sources say she didn't ask for clarification, didn't request edits. She saw the facts, skimmed the risk assessments, and said, if he's no longer within the system, he no longer gets the protections of the system. That was it. Short, ruthless, final. Do you see what just happened? A document that started as a precaution became a purge, and no one, not even King Charles, could stop it in time. Because here's the cruel truth. By the time Charles was briefed, it was already done. The wheels were turning. Security protocols were being adjusted. Access lists were being reprinted. Command centers quietly updated their logs. From Windsor to Clarence House to Sandringham, a silent directive went out to stand down if Harry showed up unannounced. And perhaps the most devastating part? Harry didn't know. No one warned him. No one called. No one sent a coded message. He found out during his next trip to the UK, when royal security didn't show up at the airport. Let that play out in your mind. Prince Harry, a decorated veteran, a man used to full-scale protection teams, walking alone through Heathrow Terminal 5 with no escort, no bulletproof car, just a few photographers snapping at him like hyenas. And on his phone, 12 missed calls to the Royal Liaison Office, all ignored. Now, if you're thinking this sounds cold, even cruel, you're not alone. Insiders close to Harry reportedly described it as a knife to the back. And yet, there's another side to the story. Because some within the palace believe this wasn't just a safety move, it was a test. A test to see what Harry would do when stripped of privilege. Would he return quietly, tail between his legs? Would he demand reinstatement? Or would he explode and reveal just how much of a threat he really could be? You probably already know the answer to that. Harry didn't stay silent. But he didn't explode either. He did something no one expected. He contacted a private intelligence firm, not in the UK, but in the United States. He asked for a full security assessment, not for himself, but of the British royal family's vulnerabilities. Yes, you heard that right. Prince Harry allegedly sought a private report detailing the very weaknesses he used to be protected from. Why? That's the question still unanswered. Was it to prove a point? To build leverage? To scare them? Whatever his reason, the palace found out. And when they did, they locked down access further. No entry to royal residences. No clearance to attend private events. And the final blow? The removal of diplomatic privileges that once granted Harry ease of passage through airports, events, and foreign meetings. He was, in every way, reduced to a civilian. But let's not pretend this was just a bureaucratic decision. This was a message, a warning. One that echoed through the halls of Buckingham Palace like a gunshot in a church. This is what happens when you go too far. And yet, not everyone agrees. Some within the firm believe this was a mistake. That stripping Harry of protection doesn't just isolate him. It endangers the monarchy itself. Because what happens when the most dangerous voice in the royal family has nothing left to lose? You silence someone when you fear their power. But when you remove their protection, you might just hand them something more powerful than a title or a gun. You hand them a grudge. And from what insiders say, Harry is holding on to that grudge with both hands. But what comes next makes everything that happened so far look like a warm-up. Because someone close to Princess and leaked something that was never supposed to reach the outside world. A second memo. And in that one, the conditions were different. The consequences? Far worse. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. What makes a future king cut ties with his only brother? What finally pushes someone, raised in the same palaces, trained to smile for the same cameras, to say, I'm done. Let him go. Let him face the world alone. For Prince William, it wasn't one moment. It wasn't a single argument, a single insult, a single scandal. It was a slow burn. Years of quiet resentment, betrayal, humiliation, and silence. But one day it all caught fire. And when it did, the Prince of Wales made a decision that shocked the palace to its core. A decision to sign off on the removal of his brother's royal security permanently. Let's unpack what really happened. Because what the public was told is only half the truth. Let's go back to the day William found out Harry had filed a second legal appeal to the UK Home Office, trying to force the British government to grant him taxpayer-funded police protection while visiting the UK. This wasn't just a private request. It was a lawsuit, a move that dragged the crown into court, that exposed confidential royal procedures, that, according to insiders, infuriated William beyond words. Why? Because this was more than Harry asking for safety. It was Harry demanding royal status after abandoning the royal system. William saw it for what it was, a power play. And not just any power play, a public spectacle. Imagine this. You're the next in line to the throne. You're managing press scrutiny, public appearances, international diplomacy, a scandal-fatigued family, and suddenly your estranged brother, who lives in California with his Hollywood connections, sues your government.